I recently had the option of purchasing some old kits on eBay. Some kits from probably the 1940s or 1950s, some HO kits on eBay for a relatively good price, actually a very cheap price. And I picked up, let's see, 5 Varney kits and 3 Ambroid kits, and these are the Craftsman variety. Not a huge fan of ready-to-run stuff. Nothing against it, but the reality is that for ready-to-run stuff, I don't really have a layout to run stuff on, so it's basically ready to sit on my shelf and look at when it comes to that type of product. So for me, the appeal is actually in building it. So I'm a little bit over the shake the box type kits. They're fun. They take 5 minutes to screw on some trucks and couplers. I do like to weather and maybe add a few details to them, but still those detail parts can add up. And well, I was looking for something that would be a little bit more of a challenge for this winter. So I picked up these Varney kits, and these are it would be from the 1940s. I think they're from the 1940s, 40s or 50s, but they would predate the plastic kits. And what they are is they're some sort of embossed paper or cardboard sides that you glue onto what would be a wooden car body that you would build up. So all the parts should be in the box to build a nice little refrigerated car. It's not going to be the most detailed in the world, but it's going to be fun to build, I can tell you that much. And a little bit of a challenge, something that I haven't done before. So I got 5 of them. 2 of them are passenger cars, a coach, and a combine, it says. So there would be shorty passenger cars. They would be the size of this box, so probably, 60 feet. I have a refrigerator car, a box car, and also a flat car. The box car and flat car are built up about the same. And I have 3 Ambroid kits. And the Ambroid kits, I think, are a little bit newer, maybe from the 60s or 70s. These ones are more of a, let's see what you got here. It's sort of like a box of wood and decals. So they don't have the embossed sides on them that the Varney kits have. So they're a little bit more complicated. I'm going to start with a Varney kit. Probably this refrigerated car first. It is Pacific Fruit Express. I noticed it's Southern Pacific on one side of the car, Union Pacific on the other. But I'm told this is the way that they actually were, that Pacific Fruit Express. They owned the cars, and they were a joint venture from both Union Pacific and Southern Pacific, so they would have the logo, one of each on each side of the car. So the thing about these is there really isn't much of an instructions to them. It's just, the only thing I found in the box was this sort of exploded diagram with some notes on it. So it doesn't fully say how this thing goes together. One of the things I do notice is it says there's trucks. There's a center beam. There's no truck bolster listed, which doesn't really make sense to me, and makes me think I'm going to have to do something to screw the trucks to, but it doesn't list how to do that. So the other thing I noticed is, well, first of all, it says it's packed by number 621 in 1946. So that gives me a clue as to the date. These These are the ends. And there's a texture to this. I don't know if you can see it. It's an embossed paper. So I'm guessing in the 1940s it was quite a little bit before the plastic injection molded bodies. So it was either resin or wood. There's one wheel set in here. I'm noticing also they've only got one end sill. I don't know what these brass pieces are quite yet. I've only got one end sill. So there are some pieces missing. Did come with a piece of sandpaper, so I guess it includes almost everything you need here. But reading the instructions, the first step is going to be to glue these things onto the ends. And this would be the floor, this would be the roof, and you'd build a box, and then you would build looks like you'd take this cardboard to make sort of like a false side to it, and glue the embossed pieces over the top of it. But right now my issue is, well, let's take out the pieces I'm going to need first. And that would be these, the ends and the floor. I don't think there's much floor detail to it. I'll leave the instructions out. But I take it these came with trucks. There were obviously no trucks in that one, and I'm missing a part. But I've started to notice also that as I take some of these other ones apart, that there are pieces. This is one of the coaches, or the combine, I guess. So this is going to build up something really cool looking. So I'm excited about this. That maybe some of the missing pieces are mixed in with some of the other boxes. Production difficulties due to non-availability of proper cardstock make it impossible to properly emboss and print color on these car sides. We therefore recommend that you use the colored side for the inside section of the car sides and paint the car with passenger car green paint. Spraying gives best results. If you use a brush, remember that several thin coats are better than one heavy coat, which hides the rivet detail. Interesting. And this one was packed by 11/30. Oh, it's the date. It's not a person. So this one was packed by November 30. No, that can't be right because there's no 35 days. But packed by 11/35/1946. So I don't know exactly who that person is. This is some passenger car details. I noticed the passenger cars did have some trucks, pieces to trucks, and I'm not this particular box. Look at this. It's not even a plastic bag. It's this wax paper bag. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking through the other boxes to see if I can find the missing parts for this refrigerator car. Not that one. And here's the other coach. See if I've got some stuff in the coach boxes. Coaches seem to have a little bit more stuff in them. So here, I'm going to take any parts out to trucks that I see, because that way I can sort of organize and know what I need to buy. Obviously all the cars are going to need trucks. I have couplers. Oh, look at that. And I bet that goes to the trucks. Again, there's not the best instructions, but it's sort of like a puzzle. You don't know exactly what parts you have. Oh, look at that, 4 screws. I bet these assemble sort of like the dummy trucks on one of my Varney F3s. So this is this is the coach, and this is 4-wheel. Oh, look at that. I've got 2 bolsters, 4 side frames, 4 wheels, which look like they're insulated on one side somehow. See, that doesn't work. I'm going to wind up using these, but they're not exactly the RP25 standard. Let's see what's in here. The flanges are a little different. What's in here? Let's see. This looks like couplers, brake cylinder. Oh, these are all passenger car parts. So I'm going to put these back in. Sometime when I was a kid, my older brother went to a train show. So again, that's sort of it pretty much dates it. I was probably 13 or 14. My brother was going to a train show by himself and driving. But he went to a train show one time, and he came back with a bunch of old model railroader magazines. This would have been from these magazines would have been from probably the 40s, mostly the 50s and 60s. And I was quite enthusiastic about them because they included information that was, well, first of all, they did a lot more building stuff back then, and building it out of materials that I had on hand for free, so I didn't have to go to the hobby shop or spend money to follow the instructions. They'd build stuff out of cardboard or paper, wood, so it was a little more relatable to the materials that I had available to me and that what I built with before. So I really liked those old model railroaders. People pretty much give them away now. But anyway, I really tore through those things, and I liked looking at the products that were available then that aren't really available to us now, and the manufacturers, one of whom was Varney. So I always wanted to try some of these old Varney kits, or it seemed cheap to me at the time. It would be like, $1 for a car kit. Of course, with inflation, that'd be like $20 today for something that requires a lot of assembly and still doesn't have a whole lot of detail. This is a flat car kit. So it's the same thing as this embossed paper that wraps around the floor. So this will be fun. So you can see it's got sides on it and a roof or a deck, and it's got end sills. So I'm gonna put this all back away. Still looking for a pair of trucks and an end beam there for the reefer. But I noticed this flat car has this in it. So this obviously is something different. These are some kind of resin sides, and as you can see, it's pretty well warped. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do much with it. There was another side like this in the box. There are no ends that I could find, but there was another side. And as soon as I kind of picked it up and tried to see if, like, I wonder if this is just warped or what, metal but no, it's resin, and it pretty much crumbled when I picked it up. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do much with this. So it's probably going to be parts. If I can't quite figure out how to get the side straight, there's not much I can do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew these trucks. The problem is I'm probably going to have to buy some trucks, at least for the Android kits. I know that. They don't come with them. But if they're missing with the Varney stuff, then, oh, look at that. It's got a little fiber washer under it. I mean, this is a dummy coupler. Oh no, it's a little knuckle coupler. Check that out. I don't think it's going to mate with the KD couplers, but it's got a fairly neat looking little knuckle coupler and a centering spring in it. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that. I would say I want an operating coupler on it, but might look cool in a junk pile. Or at the very least, the coupler box might be useful. But this is probably just going to be parts. So I will put the coupler back in here, take the trucks off, shove that back in this box for later. So one more Varney kit. The Ambroid ones look like they've pretty much been unopened. These Varney ones look like they've been opened and one flat car inserted in there at least. Or one gondola or whatever that is that's sort of missing pieces and falling apart. So again, I'm looking for an end bolster and some. This is where I saw them. Yeah, I don't know. If I look at the flat car diagram, boy, it doesn't really tell me much. Doesn't really tell me much on this. Whether or not there's end sills for the flat car, because if I look here, it looks like they're part of the cardboard there. So I'm going to take these out. Take this bag of parts out and assume that it goes with the refrigerator car. So that way I've got 2 of these. Look the same to me, which will go on the end. So I got one set of trucks, a random Renegade wheel set in one of the boxes. I have at least one set of passenger car trucks. I think that's all I've got. One sprung pair of freight trucks. So I'm probably going to need 2 more. I'm going to leave this. Just leave this out. That's probably going to be for parts. So looks like I'm going to have to buy 2 pairs of trucks for the other freight cars. I'm going to have to buy trucks for the Ambroid kits. And I'm going to have to buy trucks for 2 of the Varneys because I'll probably use these. Again, I don't know how you can do that without making some sort of a bolster, even though it doesn't say it. Maybe I'll see if I can find better instructions online at HO Seeker. So these glue, this is the first step. Doesn't say what to do first, just says don't put the embossed stuff on the paper sides on until the end. So these are going to get glued on. So here's the thing. I wonder if I'll try to clamp it with these. I don't know what I think I previously mentioned, I'm going to leave these passenger car trucks out because I'm going to go ahead and assemble them here in a few minutes. I'm going to save these off to the side. I think I've talked about adhesives a little bit already. One of the things I like is to do is, if I'm making something out of wood, I like to use wood glue. If I'm making stuff out of plastic, I like to use plastic cement. If I'm making stuff out of paper, well, I could use white glue or whatever, but for this I'm going to try, this is basically a contact cement. I think this stuff's been around for a while. It's not the brand that I think I've used before, but it's what they have now at the hardware store. The reason to use that as opposed to like a wood glue or a water-based glue is that I don't want the cardboard sides to warp and buckle if they get wet from the glue, so I'm going to try that. Not too big of a fan of super glue. I've mentioned that before. Super glue, it's one of those things that to me it's a glue that it's decent at gluing many different things, but it's not always the best choice, the strongest choice. It's got its advantages of being fast and being able to join dissimilar materials. The disadvantages that I see is it seems to be a somewhat temporary bond. A lot of things that I glue together with super glue come apart after a few years. And I don't see where it works very well on wood because it just kind of absorbs into the wood and never makes a good joint. So I'm going to try starting by using this wood glue. See if it actually comes out. It is Gorilla Glue brand, but it is not that polyurethane glue that actually Gorilla Glue is. So it looks like I'm gluing end grain here. It said this, I mean, I'm assuming that's what the sandpaper is. There, it's like, should sand it flush, but I don't see how I'm going to sand it any more flush than putting than what of my machine. Whew, boy, that flew off. I don't think that's going to be the best clamp for this. So what do I got? I got a little C-clamp somewhere that I could use, or I could use a vise over here. But either way, this is going to be step one. What did I do with that little C-clamp? There. A couple of these. I don't know what happened to the other one. But obviously, wood glue works. Wood glue is strong. It's the best thing you can do to glue wood to wood. But the trick is, you got to clamp it. So you put glue on. You don't want too much, but you also don't want too little, because you want it to be able to squeeze out a little bit and then wipe it off. But you don't want so little where it doesn't fully penetrate the joint. What am I going to do here? I should have thought about how I'm going to clamp this first. I think what I'm going to do, you won't be able to see this on camera, but I got a vise over here. A little small vise that's got smooth jaws on it. So it's not a very... It's one of these, a vise. Actually, I'm going to put a little more glue. It's a vise that's made to clamp down to a work surface, like a table. Not screw to a surface. So it's a small vise. I'll have to show you how I got this rigged at some point. But I basically clamped the small vise inside a bigger vise. hold it in place. And the reason I do that is because I don't really have anything to clamp the vise down to. So my workbench is basically too thick for it to clamp down to. But I use it for all kinds of things. Just show you this setup. But the idea here is I got to get this end piece on. And I want to be it to flush with the end. And clamp it square, let it dry. What does it say on this? Clamp for 20 to 30 minutes. Make sure I close the cap so it doesn't form this big solid plug. Glue my bottle shut. That's the other reason I don't like super glue. I buy it in the little cheap tubes because it usually dries up before I get a chance to use it again. So there I got one side clamped. I think I solved this problem, so I think I've got enough parts. I just need trucks. I think I'm going to use these ones. These are sprung trucks. They look like plastic wheels. Feel like plastic wheels. Maybe a metal axle. Let's see if I got a magnet over here. Yeah. Metal axle, plastic wheels. Could probably go find metal wheels to go in here later, but it's a sprung truck. I can pick up more. Sprung truck would be very vintage, vintage style for this type of kit. And this would be the passenger truck for one of the passenger cars. I don't think I have anything in my parts box that's similar to that. So I'm a little bit concerned about finding something that matches if I don't have another one of these. And I don't think I do. But if these work the same the way the diesel, the F3 ones go, then this, actually it looks exactly the same, just different side frame. We'll try it out here. I was looking at some other kits. What was I looking at a kit for? It was a steam locomotive kit. But it looked to be, I don't know how this is gonna work. I think I need this. I think I want it to be at the in the top hole. For one, the top hole appears threaded, the bottom hole does not. Top being the top here and the bottom being where the journals are. But I saw another kit on eBay and I thought, wow, that's a good price for that thing. And then I looked closer and it's got the dreaded zinc rot. So it said, oh, it needs work. You zoom in one of the pictures and the frame is buckled and you see the cracks starting in it. I have been very fortunate. I put together a couple of Bowser steamers, some Roundhouse steamers, and a few other die-cast kits in my time, and I've never ran across one that had the old zinc rot or zinc pest, which is, I guess, quite lucky. I mean, I've seen them in pictures, the zinc pest stuff, but I've never opened up a box and gone, oh crap, there's nothing I can do with this. And there really is nothing you can do with it once it started to crack. But, you know, I mean, this is 1946, 75 years old, this kit. And my feeling is if it was going to start with the zinc pest, it would have started by now. So if it's gone 75 years without it, it's probably not going to be a problem. Of course, that might be the reason why the other trucks are missing, because they started with the zinc pest. And I didn't even know how you're supposed to put these together. Look at this. I mean, one screw obviously it interferes with the other. One side interferes with the other when you're putting it in. Maybe it's, who knows. But it's a pain. So when I've done the F3, I don't like how these things work loose. They don't get all the way tight. But I recognize they probably need to not be snug, because the design might be that it's supposed to be a little bit flexible. But I think that's what you're supposed to do, is bend these out a little bit, put the screw in, and then sort of bend them to hold the wheel in place. But what I wind up doing is I've been putting a dab of JB Quick epoxy on one side, and then just using the screw on the other side. And the reason I do that, I mean, that's the way I think it's supposed to work. I'm not sure I want to do it like this yet, because I don't know if it's supposed to go in the top hole like this, or the screw in the bottom hole. But obviously I'm going to want to glue one side to help hold the thing together. Obviously, because otherwise the screws back out and the wheels fall out. But I mean, as of right now, it pivots a little bit, allows for an uneven track. There's got to be a picture in the passenger car one to show me how that goes. But I've got the glue drying over here. It's just 20 to 30 minutes before I can clamp the other side. Let's see if I can. I think I'm going to start with the freight cars, this one and then the box car, and then move on. If I have enough parts to do both box cars and the flat car, I'll do it. I think I got enough. It's mainly just the trucks, and if I'm short one, I don't think I should be short one of these end bolsters, because I don't think the flat car needs them. Again, the instructions are kind of crappy. I feel like there should be some other bit of instructions with them that's more step-by-step, but there isn't. The passenger cars do, but not the freight cars. So somebody might have lost the instructions, or as the note in it said, that there was a supply issue. So who knows? But again, it's hard to find. I mean, they're out there. These kits, they're out there because, well, I mean, you know how modelers are. They buy stuff. Oh, this is cool, and then they never get around to building it. So it sits. They open the box up, take a look at the pieces. Oh, I'll do this someday. And then years pass. Never find the time. Then they pass away, and somebody else sells it at an estate sale, and they don't know what they have, and they open the box to take pictures for eBay or whatever, and pieces go missing. Or if they were never there to begin with, nobody ever bothered to check that they were missing. I'm just putting this together for the purpose of making sure which parts I have, because obviously I'm going to need to order some stuff. You can get some unsprung freight car trucks pretty cheap online. You can get, I don't know, it's $8.50 a pair or something for unsprung ones with metal wheels. You can get some pretty cheap ones with plastic wheels from Taichi, or even cheaper in bulk from China, with plastic wheels. Then if you want metal wheels, which I wouldn't want plastic wheels with plastic axles. I don't think that's a good combo. So I would replace them with metal wheels, and I think they would work out to be about $7 a pair after that. But these, if I need more passenger trucks, I would definitely look for something that looks the same, because I want to use these. I want to use as many parts that came with the kit as possible, even if they're not quite to, today's standards as far as detail. As long as they roll, I'll use them. I mean, in my experience, sometimes some of these older ones actually are more durable, or I like the heft, the heft of the die cast. Makes me feel like I'm not going to break it when I pick it up. Let's see. So I've gone ahead and you can see I've glued that. Should I try this again? I love the spring clamps. Just holding all the pieces together while the clamp goes on is a little bit difficult sometimes. I get the feeling that's not going to be perfectly square. Which is going to make it a little bit of a challenge. Oh, I've already broken the bond. A little bit impatient. That's my problem. Of course, there's no reason to be impatient. I can always edit the video. So I'll pause the video, and I'll glue the other side, and then next video I will start by gluing the roof on, and then figuring out how to put some of the sides on this thing and the floor or the center sill. Again, I'm going to have to figure out about the trucks. These are the ones that I want to use. There's going to have to be some kind of bolster in the middle. I don't know how it won't. Little wood screw that came with it. I think this is a Varney sprung truck, so it's supposed to be the right one. Anyway, that's what I got for now. I will see you next time, and hopefully I will have the body put together and have this thing coming along now that I figure out how things go. So it's part 2, and then I'll just probably do 2 or 3 videos for each one of these cars. Plan is to do the refrigerator car, then the other box car, and then the passenger cars next, or maybe I'll do one of the Ambroid kits. They're a little bit more involved because it's just a box of wood, some detail parts, so there's going to be some cutting and gluing involved there. Anyway, until next time, good night.